Hello, precious mamas and mamas to be. This is your host, Ilka B, with the Liberated Birth Movement.
Another myth, it's okay to be afraid of birth.
Ooh, that is dangerous because it can lead to all kinds of problems and issues and interventions. And I'll tell you exactly how in a minute. But first, I want to tell you that it actually really does matter if you are afraid of your birth, or if you go into your birth totally faithful and with a trust in your body and your own capabilities. So what happens if you're actually afraid of giving birth? You know, you could be afraid of the pain of birth. You could be afraid of tearing. You could be afraid that your baby won't be okay. There's all these kind of things. But what it does is it leads you to worry and it leads you to be stressed out. And if a mom is actually stressed out in her pregnancy, especially over a long period of time, what can happen is that, the baby will feel all of that, and the baby can actually have preterm labor, and it can have low birth weight, and that then leads to the baby having a harder time breastfeeding and a harder time in general adjusting to its first days and months of life. And it also puts you into a higher risk of getting an epidural or other pain medications, or even, opting in for C-section because you are too afraid of it. So that can lead to all kinds of issues resulting from that. And it can actually really lead to your body tensing up, and that means your body can slow down, labor can slow down, and that means then there's another whole bunch of interventions that are coming. Maybe it has to be sped up with Pitocin, or then, the contractions are getting too intense and you're opting for an epidural, and then you end up in a C-section. So if you are afraid of your birth and you're afraid of the pain, that matters a great deal. So, it also can lead you to have bad breath. What does that mean? Well, it means you're not properly breathing. You're having a shallow and short breathing, and that can actually lead to the baby not having enough oxygen in the womb and, being compromised and maybe having to spend some hours or days in the NICU afterwards. So we don't want that. We don't want you to be afraid. We want you to trust in your body and to trust in your own capabilities, that you and your body are made to do that. So because if you're afraid of that pain, if you're afraid of your birth, it can actually lead into you having more pain, long-term pain that will actually affect you for the rest of your life. So what can you do? There's a few things that are really important. You can explore these fears, see what's actually underneath, and go deep, accepting them, but seeing where they're coming from, if they're actually true, or if they're put on us from an outside source like the hospital, the medical system, or your doctor, or maybe your parents or friends that had a bad experience. That means you got to shield yourself as well from all these negative, fearful experiences of other people, and truly, build a knowledge and education and understanding what natural physiological birth actually is, so that you know your body and you know your anatomy and you know what's going to happen, so that you can go into this experience without all this uncertainty, but rather with a good solid knowledge and trust. And you also need to learn all the tools to be present in the moment, because fear is something that is literally just happening in our mind. It happens when we're going too far into the future of, oh my God, what is going to happen? But if we're truly staying in the present moment, and meditation, breath, yoga, all these wonderful things can help us to be in the present moment, they're really good tools to have going through your labor process. And then what is really important too is to have the right support, to have like-minded people in your life that support you, that understand you, having a partner that, is on your side and completely got your back. You need to have a care provider, or maybe you don't need a care provider, but if you choose to have a care provider, you need to be able to trust that person, and that person needs to be totally on the same page. And maybe you want to work with a birth coach like me, or another mentor that guides you through letting go of these fears and really truly getting into this birth experience with a full trust of your capable body.
Please follow the Liberated Birth Movement on Facebook or subscribe to our channel. If you have more questions how to apply these ideas to your pregnancy and birth, schedule a call and we'll get you clear on what you want and how to get it. meetme.so/liberatedbirth. meetme.so/liberatedbirth. Always remember, birth belongs to women.